Hey guys, welcome to a ridiculous interview. It's me, and I'm with TJ of the Nearly Dead. She's the lead singer. They're a band out of Nashville. They're super cool. They're really awesome, and I'm really glad to have you here. Thanks for having me. Or thank you for coming on. Not, I'm not. You're not having me. I'm having you.
Thank, thank you for having me.
I'm really excited. You guys have become active now. You got a new single that you just announced the other day. That's pretty exciting, no?
Yeah, we're really excited. It's been a minute since we've released anything and done anything. We've kind of been on hiatus, and that's no secret to the fans and anyone who has been keeping up with us. That we've been kind of on a break, I guess, and working on personal stuff, focusing on family and all that. But quarantine has a way of like changing your perspective on things. And all of a sudden, the guys were like, "Hey, like I have all these new ideas. Like we should do something." And so we just got the ball rolling again. And we knew we were going to come out for a while, but like purposefully were like silent on social media and stuff like that because we wanted it to be like a kind of a big like, hey, and we have a new single.
Well, I was kind of surprised. I mean, you're not really expecting anything given this year. But what was it like recording a new single in 2020? I mean, did you guys come together? Were you kind of recording separately? How'd you guys do that?
This is like the most slapped together, like duct taped like song that we have ever done. We actually had kind of some of the parts already had done from last time we released a single, and it was just one of those songs that like never saw the light of day. Like money didn't run out, but like producer never finished it. We just never, we were like, it was like a back burner song. And then like years later we are like, hey, like that song was actually really good. And then I listened to it and it wasn't finished, and I had to do all the vocals,
Oh,
and we had to re-record some instruments. Like it wasn't finished at all. We just had like, at least we had the drums, because drums are one of the hardest things to record.
yeah.
But like you have to do all kinds of microphones, you have to get in the studio, like unless you're doing like digital drums, you have to like have a real setup for that. So luckily that was like already done. And then I had to do the vocals, and I literally, this is, you're looking at it like this is the studio, this is my bedroom. I got my keyboard here, my microphone, and I just sent it to our producer. His name's Brian Craddock. He had worked with us on Watch Your Back, which was our single that we released I think a year ago.
Yep.
And we love working with him, and he was down. He was just like, hey, just send me your vocals, and he made everything work. And it was mastered by Brad Blackwood, who's done literally everything we've ever done. He's a great guy. And yeah, I mean, it was just like sending things through the mail and like sending big files and recording in my bedroom, and then yeah, it
Uh,
was an interesting process, but it was really, really fun. And Steve also added like a bunch of these over the top kind of like keyboards and overlays and things like that. So Steve actually did that like from his bedroom, and like sent the whole thing off to the producer. So we actually never actually saw each other to make the song, except for like years ago when we actually wrote it together.
that's really cool. I mean, it's safe. That's but that's really cool to be
Definitely.
able to put it together like that. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces when you're creating a song, and to do it kind of not together seems like it would be a little difficult.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely difficult. But I don't know, like we've kind of been doing that for a while. Like I don't live in Nashville anymore. And a lot of the fans know that. I'm engaged. My fiance is from Rhode Island, so that's where I live, and I'm on the East Coast. And for the longest time, that's kind of how we would write anyway. Like they
Right.
would send me an idea and I would kind of lay something down, but we would always eventually get together. I would always fly to Nashville and we would always eventually get together. Not being able to get together has been so difficult and so hard. Obviously, not being able to play shows, see the fans, do stuff like that's been really difficult, and have really missed it.
Right. You mentioned now you're on Rhode Island, but you were guys. No, you're not from Nashville, but that's kind of where the band started. What was it like performing in Nashville and kind of growing as a band in Nashville? I mean, it's Music City for a reason, right? Like that there's there when you mentioned Nashville, people are like, oh, that's cool, right?
Oh yeah, have you ever been to Nashville?
No, but you guys wanted me to made me want to go.
You need to visit. Nashville is one of the funnest cities, and we've been in a lot of them, and it's so much fun. And it's where you cut your teeth as a musician. It's where you get your chops. It's where like everybody that is performing there on any given night is so talented. Everybody they go there to make music. You've got all the music the major labels, you've got great studios, great just producers, like almost everything you need is in Nashville. It's great. It's kind of like when you're doing music, it's LA or Nashville. And as a rock band, it was great because we were kind of like against the grain
Mhm.
and we were able to really make connections very easily just because there wasn't as many rock bands and there was like a smaller like scene for it. So the sad thing is though a lot of venues as you know have closed over the years. Like a lot of places we used to play like regularly are just not there anymore.
Right.
So things have definitely changed and you know we'll see how covid works out because a lot of the venues are struggling and we're just you know ready to be able to play shows and like have the venues do what they do best and stay in business hopefully.
Now, I don't know a lot about the venues in Nashville, but I do know of one, and it's called Tootsie's. Have you ever played Tootsie's?
We never played Tootsie's, but
No.
we've been there and I actually used to bartend at a bar that was like right next door to
Oh, no
Tootsie's.
way.
So it's like, yeah, it's like a great, crazy fun environment. And Tootsie's is really fun to go to. But the acts that you're going to see at Tootsie's are going to be mainly like cover acts and people
Ah,
playing like old country songs. And, you know, it just depending on the night, they'll have songwriters there. But mainly when you're on Broadway, what you're going to see is a lot of like the same kind of acts, like cover acts, but incredible cover acts. And then they'll play some of their own songs too. There's definitely like songwriters nights. But if you're like down Broadway on like a Friday or Saturday, like you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna hear incredible music, but it's all gonna be like either like a top 40 cover or something like that.
well, that's okay, I guess. I'm sure they make really good covers with the top 40 stuff.
It's a lot of fun. We used to play a lot at the Hard Rock actually
Oh,
on
really?
Broadway.
Okay.
The Hard Rock, there's an upstairs area where they would have live bands. That's we played there a ton because we knew one of our good friends worked there and was like the booking agent there. So we've
Nice.
definitely played on Broadway. There was this place called the National Underground. I don't know if it's still there, but we played there. And I'm sure there's some other places we played mainly downtown, but we played all over. I don't even know. I don't even know how many venues.
You bounced around, but you guys have actually been around for a while. I mean, your first EP was in 2011, right? Like in starting with Never Look Back, which is by the way like my favorite song. Like it's
Yay.
absolute banger. But like it's almost 10 years. How did it kind of make you think you look back and you're like, "Holy, how the heck did it get here?"
I mean, it makes us feel old kind of. Like it's kind of weird. And honestly, like I will say with this new single and everything we have going out, it's kind of like and we've taken like we've stepped away for kind of like almost 2 years, at least from touring and
Yeah.
pushing stuff and having new songs and projects. So we've kind of trickled things out here and there, but we haven't really hit it really hard in like several years. So I think when we think, oh, we've been together for this long, it's like, I don't know, at first it used to kind of bother me. I'm like, oh, we've been together for so long and like maybe where we want to be isn't where we are. But like then we look back and we're like, wait, we've accomplished so much. We're still together. We're still a band. We're still putting out music. And no one cares. No one cares that Never Look Back came out 9, 10 years ago. They're like still jamming it. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Like music, like it doesn't matter how long you've been together, and we're just really trying to hit the ground running again and try to just give you guys more of what you want and pursue what makes us happy.
I mean, if anything's like the next singles like any of the last singles, I think you guys have actually really been hitting it out of the park with like Watch Your Back, Freak Show. Like you guys have really been nailing some tunes lately. Where are you getting like where's your creative process with all these songs? Because I find a lot of your songs actually mean something. They come from somewhere, and I'm just curious, like where do you find all this stuff?
That's a great question. It's you know, just everyday experiences, life, like my life, things that have happened to me. Freak Show, especially, that was another kind of song that was like I had already moved here and I was already kind of removed from the band because I wasn't in Nashville anymore. And it's just like that constant, like second guessing yourself in your head, that constant stuff that's going on in your brain and people judging you online. that obviously is comes with the territory being in a band. And I don't know, like I just those I feel like a lot of the songs are about my experience getting to know who I am as a person. And I hope that's what other people kind of relate to about all of our songs. Even back to Never Look Back, I'm like there's a common theme here about what we're about is like life is a journey and nobody has it all figured out, you know, especially not me. And so that's I guess that's kind of where a lot of the nuggets of inspiration come from about like I'm just trying to find out who I am and trying to find my voice. And luckily I have this great outlet and these great guys who write this incredible music, and they chip in sometimes on the lyrics as well, and sometimes the producer will help. So we definitely are open. We've co-written and things like that, but the end of the day, like the main like idea, the main thing is just comes from something that happened to me, I guess.
I liked Watch Your Back a lot because I think it's a song that a lot of people can actually relate to, even if because I have a feeling I know where you're coming from with that song, but I think a lot of people can relate to it. But a question, like you guys, a while back, you left record labels basically and jumped to Patreon, and that I don't to me that's unheard of in a band sort of world. You don't really see it very often. I mean, what take me through the process of realizing that was kind of an avenue you wanted to take.
I mean, I have to credit, my friends in there's a band called Icon for Hire who's had a Patreon for a while.
Awesome.
Mixie with Stitched Up Heart, she's had Patreon. And one of my big inspirations is Amanda Palmer of the Dresden Dolls. Dresden Dolls a big influence of mine. Going back I get 20 years. I mean, the Dresden Dolls have been around for a long time. They're doing like a 20-year thing now. But as a pianist, as a piano player, I like look up to her. And she did like the $1 million Kickstarter, and then she did Patreon, and she was like this beacon of hope for people to be like, oh, look at what people are willing to give you and support you, because the reality is the record industry and labels, it's a complicated relationship where when you're kind of on our level, we're not like mega famous, you're not like Bruno Mars or Taylor Swift, like the label deal does not really benefit you. They take a portion of everything that you do, no matter what. You don't have the freedom. You don't have a say in a lot of things. Like when you could, like, we want to release a new song, we would just release one. Like there's no like middleman. That's what I like about it. It's like direct to you guys, and you guys understand the relationship that you're our record label, you're helping to fund as part of the Patreon or the Kickstarter, whatever, that you're helping to fund what we do, because it does cost money to make a record. Um, but it was a very easy choice to make, honestly, because we were not, neither party I think was really happy with the way that the record deal was going. And it was I can't say too much about it, but
Of course.
that was a long time
Yeah.
ago, and like we've all moved on, and
Mhm.
the label that we were on kind of I don't know, how can I say this without getting into trouble? They kind of like it, their reputation precedes them.
Okay. Yeah.
I will say that, like, if you look into it a little bit, you'll figure out like there was a lot of bands that weren't happy
Mm-hmm.
on that label,
Mm-hmm.
and on a lot of labels. Yeah, so it's the future, like the internet, Patreon, all this stuff. It's just it's amazing for bands like us. It's like, wow, we can keep doing this. We can keep doing what we love. We don't need a label. We don't. I mean, we don't even really want one anymore.
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's a great, it's a great question. I mean, you guys seem to be doing pretty fine on your own, and everything you just kind of explains, like, absolutely, to make sense. You're your own boss. You can just kind of make the music when you want to.
Yeah, and a lot of what the label I mean, yeah, labels do have a role and a place in the industry, obviously.
Yeah.
They have connections, they can get you onto like radio and festivals and things like that, which we're always going to struggle with without that kind of like person. But you can make those connections on your own as an independent artist. It just I feel like is a little bit harder. But labels don't really develop bands anymore. They either want somebody brand new
Yeah.
that hasn't done, because with us, we've been a band for like 10 years. Like who's gonna they know that they can't change us Right?
Yeah.
So it was almost like, okay, maybe that's why we're not really getting any hits because we had pitched to record labels and with Watch Your Back, we were like, okay, this is going to be the one. It's like, you know, we want the same thing everybody does. Like we want to be on the radio, we want to play festivals, we want the songs to get big and get heard by more people, but we're just plugging away on it one day at a time.
I mean, a couple of your songs have gotten pretty big. I mean, Never Look Back has, I think, like 8 million views on YouTube, and My Evil Ways just surpassed 2 million views. I mean, that that's pretty cool to see some of your projects, grow that big.
Yeah, it's amazing. YouTube is like literally the best thing that's ever happened to us. Um, and YouTube has changed over the years too. Like everything changes. Like, and now when you're an artist in 2020, you have to be so aware of like, you can't just be a musician anymore. You have to be a marketing genius, a business person, like a booking agent. Like you have to wear so many different hats besides just the music. So, on that note, why we took a break was kind of because we were just exhausted
Yeah.
from doing all of that stuff. And you kind of miss out on the joy of making music. And we needed to take a step back and be like, why are we doing this?
Mhm.
Like, and really remember back when we were doing Never Look Back and like how we were like so stoked. We were like kids. We filmed the video in my basement and it was like it took off, and we didn't try to have that happen. It just did because of the wonder of the internet and YouTube and how things just get shared and everything. That's why, that's our biggest like ally. It's why people like you know who we are. You know what I mean? It's awesome. It's like this beautiful thing, but at the same time, it's like, okay, now I'm this like person on the internet. Now I have this persona and this. I mean, you're going into broadcast. There's like a second person that you have to be sometimes. And when you're doing that all the time, you're like, who am I anymore? Like, what am I doing this for? Like, am I happy? Like, it's like you start to question stuff. As you grow old as well, as you get your priorities change, you know what I mean?
Yep. No, I totally get where you're coming from, but you mentioned you filmed Never Look Back in your basement. That was a rather creepy looking basement, Tej. Like, were you sure
Like in
you were living there?
Nashville. That's what they look like in Nashville. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, we made it look. Oh, if you could know, it was about 10 feet square. It was so small, and we were all crammed in
Yeah.
there, like on top of each other playing. And some of the aerial shots are like JK, the director, on his stomach, like up on the stairwell. It was such a gross, it was a gross basement. It was like unfinished. And my aunt is a real estate agent and she's seen millions of houses, right? And she's like, I've never seen a basement like this. What is this? It's not finished. It's like a mountain. You're like, it's because Tennessee obviously is like mountainous. There's valleys, like Nashville is a big valley. So a lot of people don't even have basement. It's like rock. So
Mm.
it's like that basement was like dug into the side of rock. So the walls were like mountains, like rocks. And then like over in the corner, like what you don't see in the video is like my washing machine. Like the washing machine and the dirty laundry and like the water heater. And it was like it's all like just out of the frame, like just right
Just
there.
That's awesome. But and especially in that video, I mean, it was kind of related around zombies and everything. You've kind of grown up as that's your fan base, the zombies and comic books and movie characters. I've kind of really a part of the Nearly Deads in a lot of your music videos and everything you do. How does that get started? Where was one of you like a big fan? Are you a big fan of all this stuff? Like how did you start incorporating like zombies and stuff?
Oh my god, we're all big fans of zombies, and around the time that Never Look Back came out was when The Walking Dead aired for the first time.
Ah,
We were all like the hype and how amazing that show was amazing. Now, over the years, I'm gonna admit that it doesn't have as fervent of a fan base, right? I still went to Walker Stalker Con last year. I
oh
still got
really?
my picture with Carl. Like I still love the show and the universe and just everything about it. And it was such an incredible, like, back when so that's kind of the magic. What happens, like, we didn't really think of like, oh, we're going to do zombie video because The Walking Dead's coming out, but that is why the video was like successful, because zombies were like a thing. Zombies, vampires, like things like that, zombies were just like a thing. It was like a hugely popular show. So yeah, of course we were fans of zombies, and like when we did the video, we never really thought, okay, this is going to be like our shtick. Our director was like, we got to do a zombie video. Like, I want to do this because we're Dawn of the Dead fans, stuff like that. So there's actually like little Easter eggs towards those type of movies too, like the Evil Dead and stuff like that. Like we were inspired by that, inspired by the Foo Fighters style videos. Like they have their one that's modeled after Night of the Living Dead, I think it is.
Yeah.
And we're just like, we got to do something like that. That's kind of what we love to do. Um, and then over the years, it was just like that's everybody's favorite song. It's our most popular video. So everybody knows us as like that band with the zombie video. So like what people started saying, calling that I'm a zombie, I'm a fan because I'm a zombie. And it's just is what it is now.
It just kind of created itself. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so you've traveled with your band and everything. What are some of the best bands you've been on a show with? So who've been like, oh my god, this is so cool.
I mean, obviously in this moment
Oh
was
yeah.
incredible. That whole tour package though was surprising because we actually toured with this heavy band called Upon a Burning Body, and they're super amazing dudes, and their show was just like, oh my god, their fans and like their energy, like that whole tour package, and getting to see in this moment every night and get to know them kind of as people and see them behind, see what makes that show possible was just so awe-inspiring. And just so just inspiring as an artist and as a musician to be like, wow, like I want to be able to do big shows like that someday with props and fire and smoke and all that. Like that would be badass. Have
I,
zombies running on stage.
yeah,
That would be like
in this moment, it's pretty wild. Like you see some of the music videos, and you're just like, oh, okay, that's all right then.
it's super creative. It's very creative, and every tour of theirs is like different, and there's a different theme, and every album has a different theme, and they really just go for it. Like they don't care. They're not they just really came to a point. They had told us there was a point where they were just like, we didn't used to do all this stuff, and they were there was a point where they were just like, "Ah, we just said fuck it," and just started going just like pushing it. They're like more props, more energy, like more craziness, and that's what everyone loves them for now. And it got them to that bigger like point. So yeah, that's definitely one of the best for sure.
I believe that. Now, one of my dream shows is actually like Rise Against, The Nearly Deads, and The Pretty Reckless. I think that would be a
Oh yeah.
iconic show. Who are some of your who would you dream of playing with? Who is like a dream show you'd like to be on?
Um, my goodness. I love the Distillers.
Hmm?
Um, and I love Garbage. I mean, I guess touring with Garbage would be like the ultimate, like, I've made it, I'm here. That would be like a good, and because the Nearly Deads at our core are very influenced by that particular style and that era of music, like the 90s
Yeah,
kind of genre.
for sure.
But
That
I love Rise Against too, and I love punk. But the problem is that we're not like a punk band, so
mm,
can't really. But we end up playing when we tour. We end up playing with a lot of punk bands and a lot of metal bands. And whenever there's a punk band, I like drop what I'm doing and I watch their whole set. I'm like, this is my. I love Alkaline Trio. They're one of my favorite bands. I love that you mentioned Rise Against because I could go all day on bands that I would love to play with. Probably, Blink 182. I'll put that one in there for Josh and
standard.
Javi. Especially now that Matt Skiba's in the band, it's like an Alkaline Trio, like Blink Baby, and then we could play and it'd just be awesome.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, to be fair, I mean, I've been to a many Rise Against shows, and
I saw that years and years ago.
yeah, but they have like Pierce the Veil, and they had Alkaline Trio once, so I think you guys would fit in quite well with that show.
I mean, I wod love to play with them. Them actually, it would be a great tour package is The Offspring and Rise Against and then us. That would be like
Oh,
aw- I think that would go really well together because we love The Offspring.
oh, that would be pretty sick too. That'd be like that. There's some pop punk in there as well with the. Oh man, I'd be down with that.
We need to like tell them that they need to make that happen.
Okay, well, at this point, I'm sure you have more influence than I do, but we'll work on it together, Tej. We'll get this going. We'll talk to them.
Like, yeah.
I don't know who to talk to,
Let
but
me write it down. Yeah, who do I talk to? I don't know. I don't even have it.
I mean, it's still pretty cool. What's looking ahead for the Nearly Deads? I mean, obviously the new single, as we mentioned, is coming out. What's kind of your plans for 2021 and when we get over this hump that is 2020 and COVID?
Well, it's for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're hopeful, especially in America. I feel like we're just a weight has been lifted and we're just like, you know what, onward because the world is moving on. The world is like, we're done with what's happened. We're moving on. We need solutions. We need so we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, um, so I mentioned I have a fiance. I was actually supposed to get married this year, but because of COVID, we had to move it. So next year I'm gonna get married. Gonna go on my awesome honeymoon that I had to cancel. Um, so that for me personally, that's the most important thing.
That's exciting.
But for the Nearly Deads, like we really do think that it's time for us to do an album. And we're kind of wrapping our heads around like how to make that happen. Um, we don't really know. I mean, we're not really keeping it a secret. I think most people when they see a new single, they're like, "Album?"
Oh.
Like that's like their first question.
Of
They're like,
course.
"Okay." So it's not like we can't like say, "Hey, yeah, we want to do an album." But we don't like it takes money, it takes time, it takes getting to the studio, which with COVID you can't really do right now. So actually we've been working on a lot of writing, obviously. And we definitely have enough that we can make an album. It's just like how to make that happen. Are we going to do like a Patreon and do a couple songs at a time? Or are we just going to go for a Kickstarter and try to make a bunch of money and be able to make it, release it, record it, do some exclusive stuff like exclusive artwork, put it out on vinyl, things like that, things that we love to do. Like just do that whole thing over again. Cause the last time we had a release was the Revenge EP, and that was like, I don't know,
2016.
5 years ago.
Yeah, something like
Maybe
that.
not even that long. Maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. But
Yeah.
it's definitely been a while. I think it's overdue. And we're just testing the waters right now to be like, do people want this? Like
Yes. I mean, I loved Revenge of the Nearly Dead. That was a fantastic album. I love everything about it. So
Thank you.
if you can get
I
anything more like that,
we haven't really played a lot of those shows, a lot of those songs live, right? We haven't really like when we got the chance to tour within this moment. That was pre like
right?
Revenge, so we didn't have any of those like extra heavy songs like play with them. We were still doing Invisible Tonight, which didn't have a ton of heavy stuff. We played on that set. We played like Easy Way Out. Obviously, we played Invisible Tonight, but we kind of like we're finding our sound, and it's more it's a little heavier, I guess. I don't know. We're just it's everything and nothing all at the same time.
Well, call me when you do live of Revenge and specifically the song Revenge, because that would be something to hear live.
We played that on when we toured with I Set to Kill, and we did that Break into Action tour with them a few years ago. And they're amazing people. That was a great tour too. And we played Revenge like every night because
Oh,
that had just really come out right when we did that tour. So I think that was like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
such a good song, such a good
It was
song.
a fun song to do live. I think there's videos of it online somewhere, I think.
Not the same, Teej. It's
No,
not the
no, you
same.
gotta come to a show. We gotta come to Canada.
Yeah, you guys got to come to Vancouver. I need to go to Nashville, which I really would love to do. So whenever you guys announce a show, maybe we can hook it up with a Canucks game. I'll go see the Canucks play the Nashville Predators, and then we'll see
Yeah.
you, and we'll have some fun there.
I will say about Nashville, people know who Nashville is because of the Predators, man.
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
they're a great team.
they're okay.
I mean, you're Canadian, sorry.
Yeah, just a bit of a Canucks fan, but
They're,
that's okay.
they're not bad.
They're good. They made the Stanley Cup in
They're,
2016.
I know. I was like, they're not bad. They're up there. Like,
They're,
they do good. I
they're,
mean, I've been to a game or two. I'm not like a huge hockey fan or anything, but
well,
you know.
I mean, Tennessee is not exactly hockey nation over there, but anyway, I really do appreciate you doing this. It's been a really cool experience to have you on the show that I don't have.
I know I appreciate it too. I really appreciate you reaching out. Like we literally just started like going back on Instagram like 2 days ago. So it's nice.
It worked out pretty well. It was almost like it was meant to be.
I think so. It's nice that people are still kind of interested in what we have going on. So I appreciate you.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing this. and hope to hear more soon. And when the album comes out, we'll do this again.
Awesome. Hey, what's going on, everybody at Z95.3? This is TJ from the Nearly Deads. I just had an amazing interview with Nick, and you should definitely hire him to be an intern. He's incredible, and I had a great time.